Morning troops. Oh, what a morning it is. Another day, another drain. Another visit to what I would consider an iconic venue. It's the middle level. And it hasn't disappointed. It's a shame it was dark. I've taken stills. I couldn't get any video footage, it was too dark. I arrived about 4:30. Good hour before it gets light, and I was itching to go, so I've got 2 rods straight out in the margins. 10 minutes, right hand rod roars off, £8, 11 ounce Zander on a mini bluey, single circle hook. I took a steel, tried to get video footage with some backlighting, you know, with my torch and everything, but it was impossible. So I've taken the steel. I'll show you the steel now. 15 minutes later, the left hand rod roars off. Whole sardine, single circle hook, size 4 again, static dead bait in the margin, no more than a foot or 2 off the marginal shelf, the reed bed there. And bang, £20 pike, £20, 1 ounce. You want to see it? Oh, what an ugly pig. I'll show you the still now. That is the ugliest pike I've ever seen. Look at the gut on it. Yeah, obviously spawn laden. Huge fish, but it wouldn't be £20 under normal circumstances. But a right pig of a fish, a right pug. Wouldn't win any beauty contests. So yeah, we've had a cracking start to the day. As I say, another iconic venue. More a Zander venue really. You know, used to hold a Zander record. Got numerous entries in the top 50 Zander list for this stretch. You know, the middle level drain, it produces, well, it used to produce huge Zander. You know, double figures are what you're aiming for now. Obviously the Midlands rivers, especially the Severn, have really taken over, even the Trent to some extent. So, but you know, there's still good fish here. Well, as I say, first 15-20 minutes I've had a nice Zander, 8-11 and a £20 pike. So last week of the season, these iconic venues haven't disappointed. Hard going, you know, they're not easy venues, but you know, it's been brilliant. So what I should do now, if this is the first time you've ever watched me, what I do is I have a little preamble and then I'll go and show you the drain, which is down there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and show you my swim, see how we're all set up. Oh, I'm going to be smiling all day. That's what you're dealing with. Long, barren, featureless. And it just goes on for miles like that. Sun's just rising. And it goes on for miles that way as well. And I tell you what, it is chugging through. Looks calm on the top, but I'm telling you, it is chugging it through. I've got 2 ounce weights on my float rigs and I'm barely holding bottom. That's how far off fishing out, that's all. Just off that reed bed. That's where I had the Zander. So it's at the moment the right hand rod is a whole sardine, single circle hook, size 4, static dead bait. And my left hand rod Here we we can see it, we can't. There it is. See that float? Right there. That's only a foot or two off the reed bed. That's my left hand rod. That is a sprat, and it's a very small one, no bigger than my thumb. Static dead bait, single circle hook, size 4, and the middle rod is about a third of the way across. Static dead bait, that's a ledger. Yeah, you can't get out there with a float. Well, you can, but you won't hold bottom. You know, it really is running. So yeah, I've got 3 ounce weight on there. Static dead bait, and that's a whole mackerel. That's the swim. I'm going to be fishing them up. Obviously, if I want to fish further out, I shall probably, once it gets light, I want to move the baits away from the bank. I'll change the float rods over to leisure rods. That don't take 5 minutes, and then we'll be fishing with 3 leisure rods, I think, because it's so you can't really hold bottom. It is chugging through, but very pleased with the stay so far. I shall probably leave 1 rod to fish the reed bed, probably that right hand rod, and the left hand rod I shall probably change over to a ledger and go out towards that bridge. Alright, let's see what the day brings. Let's hope we can get some for the video now. So we've had two great cracking fish. Sorry they're only stills, but yeah, it's so far so good. Third fish of the morning, only a small one, but they're all they come in thick and fast. 3 in 2 hours. Smile for the camera. So yeah, having a good day. That was on leisured mackerel, and a big mackerel as well. Let's get him back. We're just going to run through again my setup. Inline float, bead, above the bead stop knot, and I use a drilled bullet if I can get away with it. Very low resistance, inline, comes through the weed, doesn't get snagged up very easily. It's a very good system. Very low resistance. Trace, my own trace, I'll leave a link in the description. And as you can see, single circle hook, hair rigged, that's my bait stop, nothing high tech about that either. These baits have been out for about an hour or two, so I'm gonna boost them. Syringe, it's a meat syringe, you can get them in most places. The reason I use a meat syringe is it's rather than an ordinary syringe. The tube is and the needle is quite thick, so it's not going to snap off like a medical syringe, and it's quite wide and it's not going to get clogged up by congealed fish oil. So all I do is I just into the fish, pump a bit in there, pump a bit in there, you can see it oozing out, I don't mind that, and that is it, and that will slowly drip out. Well, we're 3 hours into the session, I've had 3 fish and just lost one, the right hand rod. Float sailed away, it was running, you'd have thought, but no, wound down into fresh air. So that's my first disappointment of the morning. Otherwise it's been virtually a perfect morning. You know, it'd been better if I had enough light to film the 2 bigger fish, but still, can't have everything, can you? And say it's early days, say we're 3 hours into the session, 3 fish, and just lost one. The drain's bombing through middle level. It's my stop knots on my floats are about 15 foot, and they're just holding bottom in the margins there. It's quite deep, very clean bottom though, no debris coming back on the hooks or on the baits. It's been a good morning so far. It's very, very bright though. Once again, it's you know, yesterday was very, you know, it's very bright. The other, you know, when I was fishing the Old Bedford River, that was very bright as well, and I thought that affected the drain, well, river, because you know, I had one first light and then nothing the whole day. I think that was due to the bright conditions, so hope this doesn't go the same. Going to give it another half hour or so, and I'm going to boost the baits with some oil. You know, because it's the brightness shouldn't really affect it. I mean, it's that deep. They're well sheltered, so you know, they're well hidden, the fish. They've got plenty of depth there. So, as I say, gonna give it another half hour. Nothing materialises, I'm going to boost the baits and then see what I can catch. But so far so good, you know. As I say, it's an iconic drain. I've never done well on here. The last time I fished it was about 7-8 years ago, blanked. And I've had a few blanks on here actually, so pike fishing and even Zander fishing at night I've done a few times and never had much joy, but fishing god's been good to me this morning, so let's hope it continues. The wind is absolutely brutal. Got the cloud cover I wanted. It's not as bright, but yeah, the wind's playing havoc. You can hear the alarms beeping. Debris coming across. I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to hear me properly. I might even have to mute this and dub it. Do a voiceover later because it. What a difference a couple of hours makes. It's unbelievable. And it's a southerly wind, so I'm lucky. It's still brutal, but if it had been a northerly or an easterly, and I've had icicles hanging off me. I mean, it don't make you feel very warm now. It's a southerly. It is really ripping through. Change around. So I'm making false indications all the time now with the wind. I've had a change around on the left-hand rod. I've got a huge bait. I've had little baits on there all morning, nothing. A huge pollen on there. About 10 to 12 inches long. It's a huge thing. See if there's any pike around. Middle rod. Whole herring. That's mid-channel. And the right hand rod has a sardine in the margins. So yeah, so I've got 2 rods in the margins, 1 in mid channel. But I'm getting loads of false indications now, so it's a case of having to put up with this wind. I don't know how long I'm going to put up with this wind for. It's brutal here. I'll give it till lunchtime, and if I haven't had another run, I might mooch around somewhere and see if I can find a swim that's sheltered on the other side of the drain, out of the wind, because it is ripping through. I mean, really ripping through, but it's what you expect up here though. Little breeze in other places, it's gale force winds up here. So it's testing conditions again. You know, it was testing. I thought it was testing conditions this morning with the brightness, but that's a walk in the park compared to this wind. But still, we've got the baits in, got the rods in. So as long as you've got the baits in and the rods in, you've got a chance. You can hear me rods go. I don't know if you can hear them coming up on the audio, but yeah, they're beeping all the time. There's no fishing activity. It's debris coming down and clipping the line. So, well, the weather beat me, and it really was brutal with that wind. So I decided to pack up and call it a day. I had a cracking day, morning, on a cracking venue, another iconic venue for me, the middle level drain.